So there's this really good part of the TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender where Uncle Iroh is talking to the other character Zuko, and Uncle Iroh tells Zuko that he needs to let go of his shame and confront his shame. And Zuko says, "I'm not shameful. I have no shame. I'm as proud as ever." And Uncle Iroh responds to him by saying, "Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. Pride is the source of shame." And I really think that that's something like extremely profound, because what he's saying is that the reason that a person feels shame is because they have pride in the first place. And so when a person is capable of letting go of their pride, letting go of the necessity to look a certain way or uphold to a certain standard in the eyes of other people, mostly in the eyes of other people, but also in the eyes of themselves. When you let go of that standard and you stop holding yourself to it so strongly, you become free of shame. And when you become free of shame, I mean, you become free of a lot. How many things do we do as people as a way of us avoiding shame? How many things go unsaid in social gatherings? How many chances do we avoid taking? How many pursuits do we let go of in the face of out of the fear of facing our shame, confronting our pride, confronting our ego? Just a couple weeks ago, somebody reached out to me because I'm on this platform called Band Mix, where people who make music can kind of get together, and there was this band that was reaching out to me looking for a guitarist. And I was kind of afraid to respond to them because I'm afraid of what's going to happen if I go there in audition and I make myself look like a fool. And then I realized, who cares if I look like a fool? If I let go of my necessity to not look like a fool, if I let go of my necessity for other people to take me seriously, and I stop worrying so much about what other people think of me and the way that things go, I can go there and play my guitar, try out, see if I'm a good fit for these guys, and be authentic. I can be myself. And I can play guitar like myself. I can play guitar to my full capacity because I'm not holding myself back with the fear of looking stupid. It's okay to look stupid. There's nothing wrong with, I think that the reason that people are so afraid of looking stupid is because we have this extremely inflated sense of self-importance, which is to say that we think that other people pay so much attention to us. And while it's true in some regards, like when we think about how stupid we look or something like that, we tend to overinflate how important that is, because it really doesn't matter if somebody thinks that you're stupid. Like, I mean, think about the way that you pay attention to other people, right? When somebody is a fool, you don't give them all of your undying attention and energy all the time because they made themselves look like a fool to you. It might be, it's arguably much less important to you as a person than somebody that you admire or somebody that inspires you or somebody that you look up to. So on the two sides of the spectrum, this person who looks like a fool, while the internet, the internet has kind of changed things in this regard a little bit, but the person who looks like the fool receives like a much shorter attention span than the person who looks amazing and I'm saying looks, but what I really mean is like appears to be, not like visual looks. I mean like the way that they appear to be, like an amazing guitarist or an amazing musician or an amazing artist or an amazing rock climber versus, some dude who tried to do a rock climb that was way too hard for him and he fell off the wall and blah, blah, blah. Like, the attention spans are different here, right? And so this person who fails and makes themselves look like a fool you're not being paid attention to the way that you think you are. People look at it, laugh, and then move on. And so why can't you do the same? Why is it so difficult for us to do the same thing, right? So, and this brings me to my next point. I was in a group with somebody who we had it all. Like we didn't realize it at the time, but we had it all. We were given a space by the mayor of our town to practice music for our band. We had all of the resources that we needed. We had a full band, there was 5 of us. There was enough of us for us to do the whole thing. We had all the equipment. We had all of the resources. We had all the time. And not only that, we had the support of pretty much our entire town. And we let it all go because at the time, we were not ready to stop being victims. We weren't ready to stop being losers. So when I say that somebody is a loser, now at that time I really was a loser. And the reason that I say that is not because that being a loser is some sort of like permanent characteristic of a person, because it's not. Actually, being a loser is something that a person chooses to do, and they choose to be a loser when they victimize themselves in the face of all adversity. Or even better yet, they choose to be a victim of their circumstances so strongly that regardless of what they are given, they will never be satisfied with it and will always believe that the world is against them. That person is, in that moment, a loser. And that's how I was, and that's how my friend was at the time. Right? We were losers because that's what it literally means to be a loser, is that you're not winning. You don't think of yourself as a winner, so you think of yourself as a loser. And that's, like I said, I always say this world, this universe, this experience that you're having is created by your thoughts. So if you think of yourself as somebody who loses all the time, if you have an identity and a thought of yourself as somebody who is constantly being victimized by the circumstances that they find themselves in, if that's you, then you are making yourself a loser. If instead you turn your perspective around and you choose to see, regardless of what happens to you, if you choose to look at it as something that is to your benefit, if you choose to look at it with a positive polarization and see it as an opportunity for growth regardless of how difficult it is, and an opportunity to expand and to enjoy whenever it's easy, when you look at life that way rather than the other way, you become a winner. And it's literally your choice. It's nobody else's choice. Nobody gets to tell you that you're a loser, right? Nobody gets to tell you that. You decide that. We decide. It's inside of you. It's inside of your mind. It's inside of your heart what you're going to do with your life. It's inside of you what circumstances mean what. You make that decision. You may have been conditioned up to a certain point to believe otherwise, but it's time now for you as a person to see the choice that you have. It's time now for you as a person to understand that you are the master of your own worldview. You are the person who decides the way that you see things. And so if you choose to see things negatively, then you will live in a world full of negativity. If you choose to see things positively, you will live in a world of positivity. But when we are children, our parents teach us that things are good and bad. Our parents form a worldview for us. Our parents and our peers form a worldview for us that we did not originate, that we did not create. And most of the time, for some fucking reason, it's full of a lot of negative shit. Most of the time, it's full of totally unhelpful habits and thought patterns. My job sucks, as an example. Or this kind of music sucks. Or these kinds of people suck. These kinds of people are losers. Or everybody hates me. Or this group of people doesn't belong here. That blah, blah, blah. These kinds of things they're not, I was going to say wrong, but they're not wrong, right? Because, like I said, the way that you view the world is the way that it will be for you. So if you, even choose to look at it this way. Do an experiment really quick, please. I'm begging you, if you're watching this video, to do this experiment with me. I want you to find some song out there. Just find a song, okay? Just a random song by a band or by an artist, whatever, on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. Find a song, and before you listen to it, tell yourself over and over, this song sucks. This song is awful. It sucks. It's really bad. This song is terrible. Maybe it's the first time you've ever even heard it. Tell yourself that before you listen to it. Then listen to the song. Then Find another song, or maybe even the same song, whatever, and do the same thing, but instead of saying it sucks, say over and over again to yourself, this song is a masterpiece. This song is great. It's amazing. I love this song. It's an awesome song. Say it over and over and over again until you believe it, and then listen to the song. And you'll see the way that your perspective and the way that you choose to see things affects the reality that you experience. Because there is no such thing as an objective experience of reality. Your experience here is completely subjective. Everything that you experience in life is completely and entirely subjective, because all of it gets filtered through the lens of consciousness that you are experiencing right now. And it is your decision as a person whether that lens is a positive or negative polarization of experience. Or you can take the middle way and make it neutral, which is an interesting little thing too, because that's kind of like the Buddhist point of view, which is that everything should be seen without judgment, without polarization as positive or negative, sort of. That's very simplified, the very simplified, underspoken form of what I'm talking about. But looking at things from a neutral point of view is very interesting as well. Trying to see things as like neither negative or positive. It's kind of cool, right? And that's sort of like a stoic mindset too, is that like even when things go really well for you, even when you receive praise and stuff, you kind of look at that as like, okay, cool. Or then like, you know, your dog dies and you're like, okay. And then you crash your car and you're like, okay. And then you get a promotion at work and you're like, okay. There's a story. I'm going to tell a story now because I like this story. You may have heard this before. This is very common in our part of the world right now, part of the internet sphere, whatever. So there was a farmer, a Chinese farmer, and one day his horse ran away, left the ranch, and he couldn't find it. It was gone. And so all the people of the town came to him and they said, "Oh no, that's too bad." And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back, and following it were 6 other horses that it brought from the wild. And now he had 7 horses instead of 1. And everybody came to him from the town and said, "Oh, how lucky, what luck you've had." And he said, "Maybe." And then the next day, his son, a young man, was trying to break the horses. He was trying to break them in, and so he got on one of their backs and it bucked him off, and he fell down and he broke his leg, and he was disabled for a while. And everybody from the town came and said, "Oh no, that's unfortunate." And he said, "Maybe." And the next day, the emperor's men came into the town and they were recruiting soldiers for a war. And his son didn't have to go because his leg was broken. And everybody came to him and said, "Wow, how lucky." And he said, "Maybe." So the point of that story is that you don't really know how things are going to play out. The truth is that you don't know the future. So is it really wise of us to get wrapped up in everything that happens to us? Is it really wise of us to get wrapped up in all of the events that take place in our life? Not really. Because what you're experiencing right now is only a small fraction of the overall experience that you're going to have. And so to try to determine the overall quality of experience that you're having via the current circumstances is short-sighted, narrow, and outright ignorant. At the end of the day, you can choose to see everything that happens to you as a positive outcome, as a positive experience. Even if it sucks or it feels negative, you can choose to look at it as an opportunity for growth, and you can choose to look at it as something good. And when you do that, your thoughts will change the way that you experience life. Thank you guys. I'm going to, in the link below, or in the description below, there's a link to my Discord, our Discord server that was created by the community, The Conscious Path. There's also going to be a link to my other YouTube channel where I do music and gaming content and fun stuff, silly stuff. And yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing the space with me. Much love to all of you, and I will see you in the next video.